Hello and welcome back to Tomcat Stitchery. I'm Whitney and I hope you're having a wonderful Friday. I've got a really fun video today. Not only do I have a free pattern to share with you, but I'm in a little bit of a challenge to share with you as well. And I'm doing a collaboration today with Mari from Sew Happy. She has another sewing YouTube channel. She does a ton of sew-alongs, kind of her thing over on her channel. So before we get into the Feature Friday, before we get into that, today is Friday. And that means we have a Love Notions Feature Friday pattern. And today's pattern is the Game Day jersey. All of them, kids, men's, women's. They are $6 today only. And when you use my code SewWhitney, you can get 10% off any orders $8 or more. So it's definitely a good one to add to your catalog. I made mine to be school spirit themed. I wore it all the way through. This is my kids' high school colors. Wore it all the way through all sorts of different high school events. So it is a great pattern, not only for like your favorite sports teams and that sort of thing, but also for any spirit wear you may want to create for kids' schools and that sort of thing as well. Okay, today's video, like I said, it's a collaboration with Mari from Sew Happy. So let's go and let Mari introduce herself real quick.
Hey Whitney and all my fellow sewing friends over at Tomcat Stitchery. I'm Mari from the Sew Happy channel, where I share full-length sewing tutorials and small tips and techniques to help you enjoy the process along the way. I love sewing and sharing approachable makes and all the thoughtful little details. And I'm so excited to be collaborating with Whitney to make the Tilda Blouse. I hope to see you over at Sew Happy.
All right, so when Mari reached out to me about maybe doing a collaboration, I thought that was a wonderful idea. And we talked about sewing up a free pattern, threw around some ideas and that sort of thing, which is what we have done. We have both sewn up the Tilda Blouse by Maison Fauve. I'm gonna talk more about the pattern here in just a second. But what is really cool is that we're in the month of April, which means Cloth Edit and Sewn on the Tyne are running their Sew April Blouse 26 challenge. And this is my entry. I will leave a link down in the description box for that Instagram post if you would like to read more about that challenge, if that's something that you are interested in participating in. But I just think it's a lot of fun, a way to bring the sewing community together, and a great excuse to make some blouses for the springtime. So that is what I have done. This is my entry into that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the pattern, adjustments I made to it, fabric I used, all sorts of things. So like I mentioned, this is the Tilda Blouse by Maison Fauve. Maison Fauve is a French pattern company. You can look at their website both in French and in English. So you just want to make sure you toggle that over to the English if you don't speak French, which, fun fact, I was actually a French major in college for the first 2 years. So I do speak French, not nearly as well as I used to at all. I can read, and I've always been able to read French and write French much better than I've been able to hear and speak. And I never got a chance to go over and study abroad because I ended up changing my major before that happened. But anyway, I can read it. I can still read it fairly well. But yes, I can't, I can't speak or hear it very well. It's just a very rusty tool. But anyway, for all those others, you can toggle between English and French. So this is the Tilda Blouse. It is a free pattern. Now, they have two options. So you've got the free pattern, which is what I've made here. It comes, I'll give you the line drawing. You can do a short sleeved or a longer sleeved, kind of a bracelet length sleeve. So it's this beautiful woven top with these pintucks. I was like, what's the word? With pintucks on the front and on the sleeve, which I thought was beautiful little details. And that's what's included with the free pattern. It has a button closure that I'll show you mine here in a second on the back. Beautiful round neckline, pretty easy sew. It's not really fitted through the bust, but it's definitely a swing style top. So it definitely a little bit more fitted through the bust and then swings out to the hem. So we have a lot of volume in the body of this top. Now there is an option for a paid pattern as well on the site that I think is different, necklines, collars, that sort of thing that you can put onto this. So that is not the one that I got. I went with the free one for this one and I'm very happy with it. If you are someone that is wanting to try out a new to you pattern company, a lot of independent pattern companies offer a few free patterns on their site, which is a fantastic way to delve into their block, see if you like their block, if you find it easy to fit on your body, if you know, all sorts of things. If you like their instructions, if you find those easy, drafting, all that kind of stuff, makes it really easy to figure out if that might be something you're interested in, then investing some money in some of their paid patterns by delving into a free pattern. So this is a wonderful entry into a new pattern company, which this is my first time sewing a Maison Fauve pattern. So I brought them up in my ready-to-wear, pairing ready-to-wear and pattern videos before, but this is my first time sewing one, and their instructions are nice and clear. They've got French on one side, English on the other, and they're, yeah, I mean, this is a very beginner-friendly top. So, you know, the instructions didn't have to be extremely detailed, but I was very impressed with everything that came with the file. So I would buy one of their patterns and sew them up again. Now, if you are someone that is new to sewing and maybe you want to try out a new pattern and a free pattern because you don't want to invest money in something you're not sure you're going to enjoy long term, but maybe you have gotten the bug and you would like to learn a little bit more about sewing basics, I do have a introduction to garment sewing class on my website, tomcatstitchery.com/shop. If you are interested in learning more about that class, walk you through all the basic techniques of sewing so you can have a good base of tools in your tool belt to then tackle a whole bunch of wonderful patterns that are out there. All right. Let's talk about this in more detail. So like I mentioned, Maison Fauve, first time I've sewn them. They do draft, I'm assuming they draft for a B cup because they do not say otherwise, and that is the assumption that I make. If it does not say in their size chart that they draft for a different cup size, I assume B cup. So I picked the size based on a 2-inch difference from my upper bust and full bust because I always have to do a full bust adjustment if it's something being drafted for a B cup. And so my upper bust measurement is 36 inches. So if I am looking at patterns that only list the full bust amounts, I'm looking for a full bust measurement of 38 inches because that's a 2-inch difference between my upper bust and a B cup. So if I did have a sewing B cup, my chest would be 38 inches, but it is 40 inches. So, because I do not have a B cup. So anyway, that is the size that I picked, which corresponded with a size 42 in their European sizing. And then I went in and I did do a full bust adjustment, and I went back and forth. Technically, with the finished measurements, I could have not done a full bust adjustment at all, but I know from experience, because it's a very roomy blouse, it's got a lot of designies, but I know from experience that I do need some shaping at my bust, so I did want a bust dart, of which I have put in here, but I did not need the extra ease at the waist and hips, so which a full bust adjustment gives you that extra room, not only at the bust, but also the waist and hip. So I did a 2-inch full bust adjustment, 1 inch on each side, which is what I need to get me to a D cup. And then I just took that 1 inch back off the side seams from the waist and hip so that I didn't have that extra fullness at the waist and hip, because again, this is a pretty swingy blouse. So I had the fullness I needed at the bust, but not at the waist and hip. And that is the only pattern adjustment that I made because again, I've never made this pattern company before, so I wanted to test it out. And I think that that is still the only fit adjustments that I would make. Now, when I had this on, and I'm gonna show it styled, obviously, but when I first put this on after making it, it was giving maternity top, which is not, I wasn't surprised by that just because this is the nature of this top. You know, it's a little bit, it's relaxed. Again, there's not a lot of shaping. Any bust shaping, I'm sure, has been rotated into these pintucks in the top. I didn't want to mess with doing that. So again, when I did my full bust adjustment, I left a bust dart here at the side. I do like it tucked in. I think it looks really good tucked in. I am debating, and I will show you pictures of it untucked, or in the video, whatever, so you can kind of see. I am debating shortening the hem because I don't know that I will ever wear this untucked. I really don't think I would, even with like a skinnier bottom, because then I look really top heavy, but I don't know that I would, unless maybe taking up the hem and making it not really cropped, but like high hip, might change the proportion on it a little bit more to make it seem oversized and, loosey-goosey without it seeming so maternity. So let me know what you think down in the comments below if you think that that might work. I'm thinking it will. If I just take up the hem quite a bit, I think that would work. And then I could still tuck it in, and then I wouldn't have as much excess fabric to tuck into my pants either. But I could still tuck it in, or even do just like a little half tuck with, wide leg trousers, wide leg shorts, nice loose shorts. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Anyway, let me know what you think down below. But those are the adjustments that I have made to this pattern. As I mentioned, in the back, it does have a keyhole opening. I just did a crocheted loop here for my buttonhole, which I just like doing that. I use buttonhole thread, which is a thicker thread, like a top stitching thread, and then do with my fingers, and I've shown this on the channel in a few different sew-alongs, how I do a crocheted chain, and I did that for the button here, and I just stuck a gold button from my stash on there. All right, fabric. Because this is a flowy blouse, fabric makes a huge difference. I did want something with a little bit of body that would do nice crisp pleats, because I was doing the little pin tucks here. So I did want a cotton, but I wanted a really lightweight cotton, like a lawn or a voile. I also wanted a little bit of a bodied fabric in order, because this is kind of a structured like little puff sleeve. There's gathering here at the top of the cap, and then you've got the pin tucks that kind of bring it in at the bottom before the little band here. And so I did want it to still hold its shape. So I found in my stash this beautiful little, and you're not gonna be able to see the texture, I don't think, from far away. I believe a viewer gave this to me. This came in a box. A viewer sent me some fabric of colors that they were no longer going to wear. They had their colors done, and they were a cool palette, and they sent me a whole bunch of their warm fabrics, which was very appreciated. So I'm pretty sure that's where this came from, but it is a Swiss dot. So it is a cotton Swiss dot. So like a cotton voile background with the little dot, tonal dot that goes through it. Again, I don't have a link for this fabric because it was something that was just in my stash, but I have put a link in the description box for a clipped Swiss dot from StyleMaker Fabrics. So the difference between regular Swiss dot and clipped Swiss dot is that the clipped Swiss dot has been clipped a little bit. So it's got a little bit of a texture. This does not. I mean, I guess it does kind of when you look at it, but it's just a different weaving. When you can see the dot, very tonal. This stuff from StyleMaker is also tonal. A little different, but it would still give you the same drape, and it would lay the same as this top does on me. So that is what I used in this beautiful tomato red. And you guys know how I feel about this color, so I'm sure I will be wearing this a lot this summer. It's very comfortable. I think this will be a nice little blouse to kind of dress things up in the summer if I want to wear it with a pair of linen shorts or a pair of linen trousers, maybe. Gosh, maybe even my Josephine. I mean, it would totally match my Josephine trousers that I made, my Closet Core Josephine trousers, that rainbow plaid pants. And then I'm thinking that it would be cute if I cropped it. I'm really leaning towards cropping the hem on this. Again, let me know what you think in the comments down below. So anyway, this is my Maison Fauve Tilda. Absolutely thrilled with, I mean, for a free pattern, absolutely thrilled with how things went together. I was able to make the adjustments very, very easily. So this would be a pattern company that I would have to make a few more adjustments on than others, but I really think that, I have to do a full bust adjustment on it. But they've got some really cool designs over there as well, which is kind of the reason I wanted to check them out. I'm intrigued by a lot of the French designers. They have their style aesthetic matches my style aesthetic very well. And I also love how they lean into details like pin tucks, because that is something I've also wanted to be doing this year, slowing down a little bit and focusing more on details in my garments. So this hits all those boxes. Anyway, wonderful entry for Sew April Blouse 26. Had so much fun doing this with Mari. So thank you again, Mari, for reaching out to me. Absolutely go check out her channel. So happy. Tons of sew-alongs over there. So absolutely go have a look at Mari's channel. And also what's coming up, May, which is Me Made May, but also Frugalissima is doing her Sew Frugal Challenge, which normally has happened in March in the past, is happening in May this year, she announced. So this would also be a fantastic pattern for Sew Frugal Challenge that is happening in May. All right. I think that's all I've got for today. My sewing, I have done did a ton of sewing back in January before I went on my trip. And then the only sewing I've done since then, aside from this Tilda blouse, has been just the sew-alongs, some sew-alongs that have been put on my channel, some cashmere sew-alongs, and I am withering a little bit inside. So be prepared. I'm going to be absolutely getting back into the sewing room and filling my cup back up. I've got a whole bunch of sewing plans for my daughter because she'll be home this summer. My son won't be. He has to stay on campus. But my daughter will be home this summer, and I have a whole bunch of sewing plans for her and that sort of thing. So lots of exciting stuff coming up in the future. This has filled my cup a little, and I'm ready to fill it up even more. All right, that's all I have for today. I hope you guys get some sewing in this week. And until next time, happy sewing. Bye.